This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Place to Be Nation, welcome back inside the Wrestling War Zone, a Monday Night Wars podcast retrospective series. I'm JT, and joining me, as always, chronicling these wars is Chad Campbell. Chad, how are you?
Pretty good. How's it going tonight?
Not too bad, not too bad. Watching the football game, a little tired, been a long week, but doing all right. How you been?
December is it's a weird month. It's a
grind.
A lot going on. It's usually pretty enjoyable, but yeah, it can be exhausting too. A lot of early bedtimes for me.
It's always the hottest dirty pay-per-view month of the year too.
Oh yeah, big lineup for TLC. Can't wait.
Those shows usually actually kind of end up being some of the better ones they put on though. Sometimes where they just like roll matches out for no reason.
Yeah, well, this one's got an uphill climb.
Yeah,
with King Corbin and
true Marines.
The dog food angles. And
I'm gonna dog food.
Lord help.
Yeah, we'll see. So anyway, yeah, always a lot going on. I'll tell you, it took me at least a good, like, I am just feeling kind of normal from that Disney trip. Like, it took me a good week to get back, like, into the groove. I was a mess on podcasts. I was a mess driving. I was a mess working. Like, just everything overall was just all over the place. So I like.
Yeah, you're in such a bubble down there.
Oh, it's crazy. It's like you completely lose touch with everything, and like it takes you a little bit to just get readjusted to regular life.
Yep. Yeah, I'd say it and a cruise are even the most even jarring than even like if you go to a resort overseas.
Right.
Because I mean, like when I'm at Disney, like I hardly ever watch TV, so I'm like checked out of that. And just the way like Disney presents itself, where like you have security, but you never see like. Like if you're on property, you won't see like cruiser cars and stuff like that. Just like random stuff that you're kind of used to with everyday life, especially me, like driving into Atlanta. Like I'm going to be seeing patrol cars and ambulances and fire trucks or some siren going off. And yeah, you never really see that in Disney. You're in your own little world.
Especially as my kids got obsessed with the Timon and Pumbaa safety video. For whatever reason, they watched it like every night as they were falling asleep. So that was the extent of my TV outside of the Monday Night Football game I watched, or Sunday night the Pats game. But
y'all didn't catch Stacy and the Must Do's on the little Disney Channel.
They were so into the Timon and Pumbaa thing. Literally, my son was like, every time we go back to the room, I want to put that on. I don't know if he even knew it. I don't think they even realized it was the same thing over and over. I don't even know. They just wanted to keep watching it for whatever reason. So I was like, fine, because it usually put them to sleep. So.
Yeah, I do like, when you turn on the TV there, they have the park hours and like generic, it's like the Disney music, but it's orchestra.
Yeah.
That always puts me in a good state of mind. Like sometimes there's like YouTube videos of just that. So every once in a while at work, if I need to take a little time out with myself, I'll put on one of those videos and get in a better frame of mind.
I'll tell you one thing I did enjoy was the they had like different variations of Christmas music in the park, which was kind of cool. Like I liked that album. I guess it's available on Apple Music. I don't have that, but I was hoping it was on Spotify. But I saw some billboard that said you can download like the playlist. But it was really cool versions. I mean, by the fourth day or whatever, I was kind of done with it. But it was pretty cool at times. I enjoyed.
All that's on YouTube too. I don't know.
All those songs.
YouTube. Yeah, like you can just type in like. I don't
Disney
know, Magic Kingdom Christmas loop, and it'll have it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, no, because it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. But no, I mean, thanks to you, obviously, you helped us have a very successful trip inside the war room. And there were times where you knew what we were doing before others in my group knew, because you were inside the app at all times. You're like, oh, pictures are up, or up. I saw so-and-so was on this ride. It was a little Truman Show-esque, but I enjoyed it. It helped me a lot. I was thinking of it as like, there was one point I'm walking through the park, and you had just done something for me. I forgot what the hell you had just done, and we had just talked. And it reminded me of Seinfeld when the Summer George one, where he's helping Jerry date the girl. Because of the two of them could success. That's what I felt like. Like I couldn't do this on my own. It took two of us to manage this entire trip, but we did it successfully. Everyone had a great time. They were all made sure to send the word of thanks over your way. It was good. I hope you had at least some enjoyment out of it too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think for you, like, you went during one of probably the 4 or 5 busiest weeks of the year, and you were still able to ride
everything.
Every single ride, and not many people accomplish that. And you still, what was probably the longest you waited? Maybe like an hour?
Not even. 45 minutes at Test Track. I think it was the longest we ended up waiting.
Okay. Yeah, nice. I mean, you can't really beat that, I think.
And did it end up, I don't like check the metrics or anything, but did it end up being one of the busiest weeks? Because I feel like it never felt that crowded. I think part of it was us getting there so early. And a lot of times it got busier later, and I think we were like less rushed by that point, so it didn't affect us too much. The only time I really felt the crunch was the afternoon of Magic Kingdom. But we got so much in. I mean, the day we went to Hollywood Studios, we were there at 7. By 9:30, we had already done like a bunch of stuff at Toy Story, Tower of Terror, and the Aerosmith ride by 9:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I think we hit every major ride. I think like Mission Space was maybe
that's probably like the biggest one that you didn't do, but yeah, whatever. I mean, you didn't. I would say maybe that, and like Buzz. You didn't do Buzz in Magic Kingdom, right?
No, I don't think we ended up.
Yeah, so those are maybe in the 15th to 20th on the overall rankings, or maybe not even top 20.
And it's probably the first time too. I didn't do like the Hall of Presidents and the Carousel of Progress. Like I usually sneak those in, but like we didn't. It just wasn't going to happen with the group we had.
Those fillers kind of thing. So yeah, the day you went to the Magic Kingdom was a 10 out of 10 ranked.
Oh wow!
Now on Thanksgiving Day, they actually were a little lighter. Like they said, Hollywood Studios was an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, it didn't feel that bad. That was the day it didn't feel bad. The only time I felt crunched was in the afternoon at Toy Story Land. It was mobbed in there.
Yeah, and right now, because they opened up the other Star Wars ride.
Yes.
It's a disaster down there right now, because they're having they bumped up the park hours an hour already.
Yeah.
Because they just had to, but there was situations like even today when they bumped it up 1 hour. So it was supposed to open at 8. They bumped it up 1 hour and said, we're only opening at 7 now. They ended up letting people in at like 6:30 just because they couldn't hold them any longer. And then the boarding passes, which is what they're doing for the new ride, were all dispersed by 7:15 a.m. Wow. So if you were not, and you can only get those if you're tapped in the park. So
you can't fast pass that ride. You got to do something.
You can't fast pass that ride. It's a virtual queue, but you have to be like in the park. So you had to be in the park by 7:15 this morning, or there was no chance for the rest of the day you were going to ride Riders of the Resistance.
That is insane.
Crazy.
And so that sucks. If they I feel bad if anyone planned a vacation at this time of year specifically to go for that ride. Yeah,
if you're going for that ride, you just got to know you're going to be waking up at the crack of dawn.
Right. I just feel like if someone's not as adept. I mean, like for me, thankfully I had you and a few of the other guys at PTB, Neil and Andy and Todd, helping out along the way. Thankful for that because, I mean, otherwise, if you don't plan it, like, I don't know how people go with families or groups and don't have a lockdown plan. And now I didn't follow the exact tour. We were bouncing around. I had you directing me a lot of the time looking at the app. But if you don't have some sort of plan, like, you're burnt. Like there's no way you're going to get through anything. You'd have to just accept that you're not going to get through stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Disney is, that's why I like doing it, because I do think, like, with a lot of trips, you can't really game it.
Right.
With most vacations, you're kind of doing what you're doing. But I also think with a cruise, you can game it somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think with Disney, it can make the world of difference between, the meltdowns you see on the sidewalk,
right,
where, the dad's yelling at the kid that they can't ride the roller coaster or whatever, compared to, like, the trip you had.
It was smooth. Difference. The worst day we probably had was the off day, which is when we did like Chef Mickey's and that was just from exhaustion. I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
The ages we had, but given the age spread we had, 4 kids under 7 or under, and then 4 adults like over 68, like that is a spread. You know what I mean? And my sister, who I basically had to like direct everywhere, like it wasn't a depth crew outside of me and my wife and you. So other than that, it was.
You're telling me your dad's not a Disney expert?
He looked like he wanted to be anywhere the fuck else, but at Disneyland, Disney World for that week.
I don't know if him or Parv looked more miserable in the Disney pictures. It was a close race.
The only time he looked happy was when Goofy came out at Chef Mickey's. That was it.
I love Goofy.
The only time he got excited, he jumped up out of his seat to take a picture.
Oh boy, yeah. I'm looking at the crowd calendar. Y'all actually did pick the right parks on the right day, because overall on the day you went to Epcot, it was like a 8 or 9 out of 10, but Epcot was like a 7. So
those countries felt jammed, but no, it was the ideal trip. Actually, the longest ride might have been that stupid Goofy roller coaster. We waited forever, and it said 20 minutes, and we got in line. It ended up being like 45.
That's right.
For like a 30-second ride, not even.
Yeah, I told you were waiting 1 minute for 1 second per ride.
Yeah, that was a rough one. So we'll see. We are so it's my wife and I's both our 40th birthday next year, and we're debating like a group trip. We're putting together a little group to go away, and adult Disney is one of the choices on our list right now, and that is like nicer hotel, going out. Do maybe a couple of parks, Epcot for sure, and really doing Epcot, drinking and eating, and staying up, not worrying about shit. So we'll see. It's on the list. It's one of the options. We're not so.
Well, what else is in play there?
She wants to maybe
Caribbean cruise?
No cruise. Well, see, I don't want to do a cruise only because, we're not bringing the kids, and I don't want to be out somewhere and not be able to get back. That's my only concern. Like if something were to happen, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't want to be in the middle of the ocean.
I'm not concerned.
I know you're not. We're gonna do a cruise at some point. We actually want to do the Disney cruise at some point. It's maybe in the next couple of years, but
we'll start up the PTB and Patreon now.
Get that loaded up. And all right, so that's all Disney. She wants to maybe do an all inclusive. That's on the list because we've never done that. Vegas is on the list as always. New Orleans maybe on the list, and we had put Nashville originally, but I've been told we'd probably max that after a day or two there. So we want to look at 4 days.
Nashville's like a long weekend. Yeah.
Right. So I would say the leaders in the clubhouse are likely to be Vegas or Disney.
I don't think you'd like Nashville.
No, yeah.
Given your prejudices against some Southern culture.
Oh, come on. Yeah, I would say adult Disney / I mean, 'cause we could work Universal in there too, which is fun. With no kids, like I like going on Island Adventure. So
I think anything. That is one thing I also like about Disney. Say what you will, but I think you can have a really excellent adult trip.
There was so much I wanted to do, but we were so fucking exhausted. So if I went and we went for like 4 nights or whatever, I would just do 2 park days. And just do 2 days like nothing, just fuck around. Or maybe 2 Disney parks and a Universal, something. But I wouldn't be at the park at 7 a.m., I'll tell you that much. I'd be out late and we go later, stay late.
When the night me and Jennifer went to Magic Kingdom after we ate a nice dinner this past June, like we were in the park for maybe like 2 hours, and we did all the mountains. So Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, Splash Mountain, Small World, Peter Pan, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Haunted Mansion in like 2 hours because we were just able to book them up on the Fast Pass and hit them while everybody was at the fireworks. It was great. It was nice.
So I would think we'll do something. It'll be that or maybe Vegas. I think I'm not like I want to do an all inclusive at some point. I just don't know if I want this trip to be it. You know what I mean? So I want this to maybe be. I feel like I don't have too many years of like going hard. You know, so not that I want to go super hard, but I just feel like all inclusive. I don't know if I want that just yet, but we'll see. We'll see. We got time. But we got the group narrowed down, so I got to send out a text this week or so. There's like I think I'm actually up to like 8 or 10 maybe would be coming, so it'll be fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for the invite.
Hey, this is your invite right now.
Jack off.
You're already going on your fucking cruise. What do you want? You want to come with us? You can come. Meet us in Disney.
We'll see. If it's next December, it might work.
No, it's probably gonna be May. So.
Of 2020?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No chance.
See.
Sorry.
All right. Well, everyone who's still with us, we appreciate you.
So wait a minute. So one more second. You're gonna go while the kids are in school still?
Yeah, because that's better for us because they're away from my parent. You know, my parents or her mom doesn't have to have them all day.
Oh yeah.
So we're thinking like a Thursday to a Sunday, so they get 2 days of school, so they're not overwhelmed. You know, and then 2 days home or whatever. So.
Oh, that makes sense. All right.
So that's what we're leaning towards. It was like the very last weekend, like the weekend after Memorial Day is what we're looking at, perhaps doing.
Oh, well, isn't Memorial Day later?
No, it's earlier this year. It's like the 21st or something. So we're looking at the weekend of May 30th, like the 28th to the 31st. Memorial Day is the 25th. So the very last weekend of May.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, now everyone knows my itinerary and my past trip. Hope you enjoyed it. I think it's time, Chad, we did dive into our show here tonight.
Yeah, let's go in.
All right. We are up to our WCW pay-per-view events. We've watched all the Nitros. We've watched a Clash. We've had a lot of hype for this show. Our last pay-per-view was way back in December. That was Starrcade. So it's been a while since we've been on pay-per-view at WCW. And that is SuperBrawl 6 from February 11th, 1996 at the Bayfront Arena in St. Petersburg, Florida. Have you ever been there?
I've not been to the arena. I don't even know if this arena still exists. I don't want to get all Scott, but this is one they definitely like going to for SuperBrawl.
It was demolished.
The first SuperBrawl was here.
It was demolished December 1st, 2004.
Oh, so sad.
Yeah. The Tampa Bay Rowdies of the NASL play there. Okay. We had 4 dark matches, so I'll hit those, and then you can get us rolling. Actually, I'm sorry, they were our main event, not dark matches. They aired our main event on TBS before the show. The Road Warriors defeated Dick Slater and Bunkhouse Buck in 2 minutes. Hugh Morris defeated Chris Kanyon in 2:28. Big Bubba Rogers and VK Wall Street defeated Joey Maggs and Craig Pittman in 2:14. And Jim Duggan and Loch Ness went to a double disqualification. So there you go.
Yeah, we'll be talking about Loch Ness as we conclude. Yeah, so more to do with him.
Weasel faced hot.
So they did a real cheesy opening, I thought, for this show. Basically just running down the graphics. But I did think that's one area where, like, WWF is killing them right now.
Oh,
because we were talking about, like, in the Royal Rumble, kind of started that great string of the pay-per-view openings.
Yep.
And, I mean, this one was just like, you know, tonight in the ring, you know. It was very
and just their video, even just their video packages in general. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right. Just,
the promo packages and the hype. Like, WCW's just seem so hacked together, and like the audio's kind of weird, and like the graphics. Like, WWF's packages have always been their packages are much tighter.
Right. They seem like every once in a while they get like a diamond in the rough, but
right.
Yeah, for the most part, I mean, like, you know, Tony in the haunted house or whatever, Fallon had it. Like, you know, every once in a while they catch something good, but not this one. Our announced team is our usual pay-per-view announced team of Tony, Bobby, and Dusty.
Yeah, baby.
Dusty lets us know you can smell danger in the ring. I don't really know what danger smells like, but Dusty can smell it. So there you go.
Smells like napalm.
I guess. Smell the napalm, smell the danger. And then they really kind of pretty quickly go to our first match,
Mhm.
which is the Nasty Boys versus Public Enemy.
Public Enemy.
Yeah, of course, this is a big street fight, so the Nasty Boys are wearing tennis shoes because it's a fight, which, okay. And I mean, all this is a brawl. So,
Yeah.
I mean, my play-by-play is big brawl breaks out. They go to kind of, I'm sure it was a prop concession stand, but they had like a little concession stand set up off to the side of the entranceway in the back, and they demolish it. Table is brought to ringside, and Rocco Rock goes through that. We also have some trash cans and chair shots. Sags uses a trash can lid. And Tony calls him Captain America, which I think actually plays better like in 2009 culture than
Right.
probably 1996. Yeah, so
Probably what a super nerd in 1996.
yeah, right. Bobby thought Dusty at one time was saying thunder instead of plunder. And then he was like, "No, that's what you use when you go to the commode for plunder." So
The plunder stand, he calls the concession stand.
Yes. They ended up utilizing the split screen here,
which I always hate their split screen because they do the
WCW staple.
Yeah, but they do the tiny. We think we talk about this World War III, but they do like the tiny box one. Like I know it's to keep it proportionate, but it's like it just ends up making it harder to see.
Yeah. Probably between both boxes, you've only got 50% of the screen filled with action.
It's awful.
So it's pretty tough to see. Yeah. Sags gave Grunge a pile driver on the trash can in the ring, knobs, suplexes, Rocco Rock through a table at the concession stand. And then there was just some like really nasty, unprotected chair and trash can shots throughout this match.
Yes.
And Rocco Rock in particular took a whole ton of nasty bumps where Sags actually suplexes the table on top of Rock, and then we go towards the finish where Rocco Rock climbs above the concession stands to like where the seating's at, and he goes for a somersault dive, but Knobs rolls out of the way, crashes through another table, and Knobs pins him after that to get the victory. So I mean, this was straight garbage right out of the ECW playbook, but I enjoyed it. I mean, it's a fun, sloppy opener, but entertaining to get the ball rolling on this pay-per-view. So I ended up giving this 2 3/4 stars.
Yeah, that was a good choice to open the show, to get the fans fired up, get off to a wild start, especially what we'll see what's to come. As far as excitement goes, but yeah, it was good. Things get off hot. The Nasties really kind of crept back up here into relevancy. Rematch from the Clash as well, and Tony makes a special note, like you did, of the Nasties having the sneakers on and not boots. And
yes.
Of course, they also have sweatpants on, which is a favorite of many around. I like how they go right out of the ring too, and Bobby says the Nasties don't keep well in the heat. And maybe that's what that smell was that he's referencing. The danger was him, or that Dusty was referencing. I liked Rock when he carried the table back from the entrance with a huge smile on his face. I thought that was pretty funny. He looked so happy. Sags just murders him with chair shots. Those were so gross. And then Grunge gets Sags with some gross ones back. The crowd is really into the violent mess thanks to the table shot that we get. And then the garbage cans coming out. A lot of walk brawling, but I thought they did it well enough. Like it wasn't a ton of just like walking with their arms around each other. I thought they fought well enough while they were walking around and doing that. The suplex through the table in the entrance was good. And then, of course, I always love the random floor merchandise table. Like you said, the prop one. Like it's always so random and obvious. Like who's buying merch down there in the entranceway? Like nobody's going down there. No one's allowed down there to buy merchandise. Like I don't get why they even bother. Like why not just have like a production table or something. You know, I know it's kind of like a callback to like Tupelo, whatever, the original concession stand brawl, but
the Tupelo. I mean, this was like a combination of the Tupelo concession stand brawl and an ECW brawl. And I don't know. I mean, if Dusty's doing some of the booking, Dusty really liked going back to that too, which was kind of weird because he wasn't, involved in Memphis any, but he must have caught that and really enjoyed it because I know, like in 1993 Harlem Heat with when Sister Sherry's like slipping on the mustard or whatever. I think is that
94. That actually may be
coming up.
No,
it may actually be coming up.
I feel like it might have been 95 when we had the whole Public Enemy Harlem Heat brawl feud going on, because the Nasties are just about done. Yeah, maybe no. I feel like she's almost done too. I think that was earlier. I think that was like a year before. I could be wrong though.
Okay. I was thinking it may actually be the next month with that Chicago street fight with Booker T. But we'll see.
Maybe. Yeah, it could be. But I feel like that's not as goofy. But we'll see. But yeah, no. I mean, this had yeah, it was good. I just don't. That's like just kind of goofy. Like at least just trying to make it look a little real. Like ECW had the back, the brawling in the back. They never had the fake table set up right there. I mean, just put a real table with some like fucking speakers or some shit on it, like whatever, like or a soundboard or something. But whatever. It's not that big of a deal. It's just kind of goofy. A lot of brawling near there. The moonsault spot to the finish I thought was pretty good. I also a fun plunder match. The crowd got hot. It was a good opener. A little repetitive toward the end. I thought they could have been a little more creative at times, but fine for what it is. I really was surprised that Public Enemy lost this. I thought they would win to establish him as a kind of the kings of hardcore in WCW. Like, I didn't really get the point of putting the Nasties over here, unless you really think they're going to continue to be the torch bearers.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't really think about that.
I mean, Public Enemy just came in.
I didn't think about that,
New
but
Year's,
that was
right?
kind of dumb.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it was. They worked the first show at ECW for the year, and that was their farewell. Yeah.
Right. So you think they would at least you think they put him over and establish him as okay, these are the torchbearers now of Extreme and Hardcore.
Yeah.
Instead, they lose in their own match, like out of the gate to a team that's pretty much fading. I mean, they're around for a little bit longer, but not that much more. So anyway, I went 2.5. Just a little surprised at the ending.
So then we have Mean Gene backstage to Shield the Hotline. This is probably one of the more juicier tidbits that he gives us, where he's talking about the rumors that 2 WWF former champions could be on their way to WCW. And he says it may even come to a surprise. It may even be a surprise to the office of the New York area as well. So
yeah, he's pretty much saying rumors are swirling.
Yeah, so I guess we're definitely full-fledged into what was going down. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure that all kicked off in February, because we'll see it soon with the suspension for Scott Hall. Like all of it's starting to creep up. So I think the early conversations had begun. Obviously they've begun because he's saying it here. But yeah, I don't think we're too far along, but it's beginning.
Starting to bubble.
Yeah.
Conan then comes in for an interview with his all gold outfit on tonight. He says thanks for becoming the U.S. champ, and he's not letting us down. And like Conan, I don't know what the setup was for this interview, but he kept looking below where the actual camera was.
It was weird.
And he was pointing there too. So I don't know if they had a monitor or something there and he thought that was the camera or what the hell was going on, but it looked stupid.
It was weird.
I do know that. And this was not a good promo.
No, he talks in Spanish a bit, and then he says he'll be smarter than the one-man gang tonight.
Yeah, do not like Conan, but this was bad.
Especially this Conan.
This Conan.
Rough.
Yeah, I guess I'd rather peel his potatoes than deal with this.
Who wouldn't?
Then our second match of the night is Johnny B. Bad versus Diamond Dallas Page in a feud that feels like it's been raging for ages now. But this has the stipulation of this is for the Diamond Doll services as well as the remainder of DDP's cash.
Right, for they won in the lottery. The bingo.
Right. 6.6 million currently. So
he won the giant bingo game that was supposedly Kimberly's card that he stole during the game, and he claimed the prize. They've had very limited Nitro interaction, by the way. Like, we haven't seen much of these guys. They've been feuding, but and we talked about it. Their first match was way back. What did we say? It was like Spring Stampede '94. I think the first time they fought, and then
it was bad.
It wasn't really part of their feud, but it was a match, and then their feud has lit back up since the fall of '95. But.
Yeah. Couple Havocs. I think they wrestled on both Havoc 94 and 95 maybe. But the ref was holding a big check written to cash during the intros, which I enjoyed.
Like, why would you write it to cash? Because then anyone can cash
That's
it.
what I was on.
Yeah, then why would you make it out to bad and then just destroy it if he doesn't win? Like, does Paige need a check for his own money? Is it bank account?
Yeah, I mean, if he gets a check written to cash, like, who cited that? It was quite a mess. No Max Muscle, so he's gone.
Yep.
So Paige is on his own. He has some flowers that he tries to give to Kimberly.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny B. Bad comes from behind and attacks him. They brawl around on the outside a little bit. Then the match restarts with some groundwork on the inside. Bad hits a good float over arm drag, and then DDP starts working over the midsection. I thought he was effective here. If it's not, like extremely dynamic, his work here. But I do think this is really kind of showing DDP transitioning from probably like a liability in the ring to a competent worker.
Yes.
I mean, now he's not like, an amazing worker at this point in time. And I don't even know if he ever got to that. I'd say like he kind of
got to very good. Yeah. I was even very good.
Very, very good effort and stuff like that for the most part. But we're seeing strides here, which was nice to see. Then Bad starts making his comeback, and he's getting some 10s from the Diamond Doll from the outside on some of his moves. He works over DDP, and he gives him like an elbow where it probably was a low blow. That was always kind of a weird move where he spread Dallas's legs and then elbowed him and all that. So sunset flip from the top gets 2, which I think that has some name, but I'm not sure with the Bad Deal, Tutti Frutti, everything else.
There's a million moves. The bad mood, the bad move, the
bad
kiss that don't miss, the Tutti Frutti. He had a million names for all these moves. The Bad Day. I think that was another one.
Yeah, Bad Day was also one. God. The action and the pace then heats up. They do a series of reversal and pin attempts, kind of in the Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko vein. Mm-hmm. Johnny B. Bad gets the sleeper. They work that spot with Dallas fading, but then backing him into the corner to break it, which I thought was good. They do the old stand by the tombstone reversal, which always gets good reaction from the crowd. Bad hits it. And he ends up getting the win with that, which I was surprised because, usually that's kind of like one of those
transition,
finishing sequence, but not a finish itself. So I thought that was kind of a little bit of an out of nowhere finish, but it was well done. I mean, they were given a lot of time here. The match, to me, like, it certainly wasn't great, but I thought it told a good basic story. It had good effort from both. And it was effective overall, so I ended up going 3 stars here.
Yeah, the feud has been fine. It's been a good one for Paige to develop. Like, we're talking about, he's improving, he's working hard. It's always something you give him full credit for, is how far he pulls himself up as a worker from where he started. I liked the Roses, and his music is still good. The before he had his more famous theme. Bad attacking right out of the gate, hit that nice double axe off the apron to the floor. And they had a lot of back and forth, and it was pretty smooth. It was smoothly executed. The DDP stun gun to turn the tide was good, and I liked him asking for the 10. That was a nice callback, and then that leads to the 10 later for Bad. Paige was loaded with facials and mocking like the crowd and whatnot. Like, he was really all in on that tonight. He was doing tons of it. The pancake was good, but then he plays to the crowd instead of covering, and then Dahl gives him a 0, so that was funny. Then we get the chin lock, but I thought we got good work from both guys in the chin lock. It didn't feel like a true rest hold. Paige was really grinding it, and Bad was really battling, so that was good. I like the near fall on the back suplex. Of course, we get Dusty's fistises. He calls it his Bad goes firing out. I like the top rope sunset flip. I thought that was well done. The power bomb was good for a near fall. I liked all the near falls, honestly, and then the finish was solid. Diamond Dog gets her money back, and she gets to stay with Bad. Paige is a loser. Yeah, this is perfectly fine. The chemistry is good. I like the closing stretch. Paige stooges out. Bad stays hot. I went 2 3/4.
There we go. Yeah, solid enough match. And so at this point in this pay-per-view, I'd enjoyed both the first 2 matches.
Yep.
And I knew it looked like some decent to good stuff on paper. This, I think I mentioned last time. This is a pay-per-view I was pretty unfamiliar with.
Right.
I don't even know the last time I watched it in full. It's been years. So I had been tipped off, because you watched it before me, that it wasn't the best of pay-per-views to get through in one sitting. But
I feel like early 96 WCW in general, I feel like it's a blind spot. We've talked about it here, and we're going to continue to play it out. Like, I feel like anything pre-May and even pre-Mania for WWF has always been like this weird black hole. So I'm glad we're going through it and really digging into some of this stuff.
Right. So I was optimistic that we might have a good pay-per-view on our hands, but we'll see how that plays out. We go to the back, Harlem Heat, with an interview. Again, I thought they had pretty good energy here, talking about the tag matches that are up ahead. But, Booker T says they're taking the tag team straight to the future. I mean, nothing revolutionary, but it was a decent promo.
Well, there was some funny bits, I thought. So Stevie says Luger committed...
what did you get?
He said Luger committed larceny, and because Sting's with them, they're both on their hit list. And then Booker says they're sissified suckers and college boys. So really going the preppy route here.
College boys.
College boys. That's what he said. Sissified suckers and college boys. And then Gene brings up the Road Warriors, and Booker says this is 1996, not 1976, which I thought was pretty funny.
Jesus. Now, Lex Luger, how old would he have been in 68, 78? Yeah, 38? Yeah. 37 years old at this time.
He's a youngster.
So a late bloomer on college scene.
Amazing, like Tony Danza going back to school and who's the boss.
Yeah, all right. So that does set up Harlem Heat versus Sting versus Luger. Luger, of course, is proud of himself as he's walking behind Sting. As their entrance, Sting and Booker start out, but then Harlem hit double back elbow on him. That makes Luger need to regroup on the outside, and so this is a storyline driven match.
Yes,
and I kind of appreciated it for what it was. It advanced the line, but as we'll get to, I don't know if all this necessarily needs to be on pay-per-view that you're paying for. It's a weird dynamic where it's like, I get what they did, and I liked what they did from a storyline perspective. It was at the hindrance of the actual in-ring action. So that's a give or take there, because talk about how like Sting and Luger page, and you can tell like Sting's yelling Luger on the outside, tells him to get up and do something, and his some power moves, getting the advantage. So once Luger then gets tagged in by Sting, after Sting gets the advantage, he's all fired up. He hits the back suplex, but then he misses his elbow drop, which he always misses. Booker starts working him over, hits the sidewalk slam. I thought Tony did a good job on commentary here, talking about how, for both of these teams, if they win, they have another match ahead of them.
Yeah.
So it was optimal that they wanted to get a quick win, but that didn't happen. And Luger as the face in peril here was kind of a weird choice. It plays to the overarching story, but I don't think the crowd really knew how to react to that. The hot tag is made to Sting. He hits a Stinger Splash on Booker. Booker, to no surprise, is kind of doing the lion's share of the work here for Harlem Heat. Now Stevie does pull down the top rope, which makes Sting fall to the outside, and that gives our finish where the Road Warriors come in and Animal hits Stevie in the back of the head with, I don't know what they end up saying, like a club or some foreign object, allowing Luger to get the pin.
Yep. It was like a piece of lead or a little pipe or something, yeah.
Yeah, like a pipe, club type thing, yeah. So Luger, of course, is ecstatic that he got the win.
Always. The celebrations are the best.
Yeah, they cover saying, Sting was on the outside and didn't see it. But as for the match itself, I thought it was a pretty good storyline vehicle. I kind of enjoyed what they were doing. And from an overall narrative, I ended up giving it 2.5 stars.
Yeah, this is a big match for Harlem Heat. It's cool kind of seeing Sting and Luger in the tag mix too. Like the big main eventers are down here working this team angle, but they're doing it inside the tag division, and they're not dominating the tag division, which you often see a lot of times too, right? These super teams get put together and they come in and just crush everyone. They're making them work inside the tag division, which is nice. A lot of commentary focus on Sting and Luger and how they're going to work together, and they are pretty seamless early on. Sting. So Lex tags Sting, who gives Luger a little bit of a look, like kind of like, you're tagging me already. And Tony says Sting's been in the ring 90% of the time when they fought the Road Warriors last time. So they're playing up to that. Luger's just kind of lazing out on the apron and making Sting carry the load. So that was a good commentary point and played out through the facial expressions. Booker really controls for a bit, like you said. And then Tony does remind us that the winner faces the Road Warriors, so big night ahead. A lot of methodical action. It wasn't slow per se. It just paced. I don't even know how to say it. They're really thinking about it, I guess, is the way to say it. But it was hard hitting. Things really ground down, though, when Stevie goes to the nerve hole. That to me, is what really slowed the match up. Booker picked it up a little bit, and of course, he doesn't cover after the scissor kick. And Tony goes into a whole thing about how this is the era of hot dogging in sports, and it costs all these athletes. So he really goes in on this. He's had this talking point queued up, it seemed. Kind of the Devo wide receiver conversation, right? He goes into. Sting comes in and cleans house, and then we get the Road Warrior interference. I thought this should have been better. It had some bright spots, but the bulk was definitely flat in the middle when it grounded down. Never really heated up, and then the awkward finish. But like you, I went 2.5 just because I kind of appreciated what they went for, and it was solid, but it just never got to where you were hoping it could possibly go with those guys.
Yeah, then we get an interview with Mean Gene of Luger and Sting. Gene, of course, is accusatory of Luger, said, hey,
Yeah.
You knew what was going on. Luger says, I told everybody we're the tag team of the 90s, and we proved that point here. And he's, of course, celebrating and hot dogging. Gene asks Sting, well, are you going to stand for this? And Sting's like, look, I didn't see anything. And but after they won, he's with the program. So I guess he's
Right.
taking Luger's word for it. So. Kind of a little offbeat there, but
Yeah, I liked how he's
There we
like,
go.
Gene's trying to tell him, and they're celebrating, and he just kind of misses it, and they walk off.
Oh god,
Yeah.
then we get One Man Gang versus Conan.
What is One Man Gang
US
doing
title.
here? Like, why is he here? Why is he in the title picture of the U.S. title? When did they decide that the U.S. title was like the 5th level title? Because it feels like that here for a bit, 95 and 96. I mean, like the TV title, I would argue has more prestige right now because Johnny B. Bad is a much better worker. Like, better guys are involved in that feud. Where did the U.S. title fall off to the point where Conan, as a face, just coming in, is feuding with the washed One Man Gang? And you know me, I love Hakeem, I love my gang, but he is completely washed at this point. He was part of the Dungeon of Doom in 95. And here early 96, still kind of hanging with them. I just don't see it. With the roster they have that's loaded, and they have other lucha guys. Like, they could have put anyone in here with Conan to make him look good. Pull a guy off the friggin' street. Like, anyone. Why is One Man Gang in this title match right now? It's awful.
Yeah. I mean,
and why the fuck was he champion, by the way?
That's true. I mean, when you have people like Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko, all sitting on the shelf for this pay-per-view and trot out this, it's I don't understand it. I mean,
they even had guys like Bobby Eaton, Regal. I mean, anyone. It didn't have to be like it didn't have to be a flashy match. Even if you just wanted, just someone to put. If you want someone to put Conan over without really hurting them, so I get why they didn't do like a Benoit, Guerrero, whatever. But there's a million other guys. I guess Orndorff's hurt, but there's other guys that have been lingering around that we see every week that are like, oh, this guy's here, this guy's here. Any of them could have been in this match.
Well, we learned Gang lost the U.S. title on main event, which is all you need to know.
It tells you exactly where it needs to be.
It's like, God almighty. So real sad times here. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this match. All it was punches and kicks. Like, there was like maybe 3 or 4 moves combined between both of them in this 10-minute match. No heat.
Mm-hmm.
Conan had no sympathy or support from the crowd. Was not given a reason to. At one point, they show Steve Grissom, WCW Motorsports driver, Dusty's way more excited about seeing him.
Wouldn't you be?
Anything going on in the match. He goes, "Whoa, that's my man right there." As nothing is happening in the match. I mean, Gang's offense consists on just like putting Conan in the ropes and just clubbering him. It's so bad.
It's terrible.
So bad. The Conan comeback, he does have a drop kick. But he does another one that's like way off the mark, and that actually gets some audible laughs from the crowd, which is never a good sign. And then just, if Gang's performance wasn't bad enough from, a work rate perspective, we also see here that he's a complete dumbass.
Oh, yeah.
Because he does the 757, has the pinfall, pulls him up, which, again, makes... I hate that spot because Gang looks dumb, and he's old and dumb. Conan, the person you're trying to build up, would have been beat by this old and dumb dude. And it's just stupid. So then he goes for the middle rope splash. He misses that, of course. It looked awful. He got nowhere on that. Conan hits his somersault tope, gets the pin to absolutely no pop. I was really kind of racking my brain watching this, and I honestly don't know, and maybe we can throw this out there, but at this point in time, for pay-per-view matches that have gotten time on a pay-per-view, I really think this is one of the worst, if not the worst, matches we've ever had on pay-per-view for both promotions. Like, I don't know what's worse. I mean, you got your terrible squashes that are like a minute or so, but
right.
I mean, I thought this was worse than Diesel versus Mabel.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, Yoko versus Luger, WrestleMania 10 with the nerve hold. I mean, maybe I don't know, but there.
So did you go dud on this?
I went dud on this. I hated this match. And up to this point, again, I mean, even with the Harlem Heat Sting Luger match, I didn't think that was a good match. Probably disappointing given their athletic ability, but I at least could accept that, okay, like that was a storyline driven match. I can accept that. So after that match was over, we were like 40 minutes into this pay-per-view. I was like, I mean, we're still on the upward trajectory here.
Right.
And I mean, it just like went right off a cliff as dramatically as you can. I hated this.
Yeah, and Conan's outfit, by the way, I don't know what that is that he comes out in. That's probably the least offensive part of it all. But Gang lays the wood off the bell and fine, and then it just falls apart, like you said. The one high spot was Conan's somersault dive. I mean, he's trying. Yeah. Like, Gang is trying to hang in there. Like, they're doing what they can. It's just they're just not equipped to do it. You know what I mean? Gang's strikes. He's ambling through this offense. He's leaning on Conan. He looks like he's about to pass out. You mentioned Steve Grissom, by the way. His record is not good. He does not look like he's a very good NASCAR driver. He did win the 1985 All-Pro Super Series and the 1993 NASCAR Busch Series. I don't know what those mean, but his NASCAR Cup Series career, 151 races, he finished in the top 10 18 times. That's it.
Yeah, Busch is like their, I think that was like their lower, the minor league series, not the Winston Cup was the big boy around this point in time. So, yeah.
So that one he missed out on. And then the Xfinity Series, 309 races. He did finish first at one time in 93. 11 wins there. No wins in 24 at the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoor Truck Series. So I guess he's all right, but I don't know much about it.
No, I mean, this is middling. Like a Torborg situation. I mean, he was never a prominent driver at all. So
then you get Gang. Conan comes back, fires up with his comeback. And Gang's just staggering. And then we get that missed drop kick. And Gang just stands there and looks at him when he misses the fucking drop kick. Gang gets a splash for 2. And then, yes, the awful middle row splash, the ugly bump, and then the finish. Sloppy and ugly, not good. Awkward, odd bumps, odd spots. Gang is just cooked. And Conan is not the guy to carry him. So half a star just for Conan's effort and the somersault senton. But this felt like a slow death.
Yeah, it was just a really bad match here. Then the Road Warriors do an interview with Gene. They explain they would do anything at all costs to get Luger in the ring. Animal does an annoying shrug of his shoulders and says, "I'm sorry." And then,
basically, too bad.
Yeah, Hawk goes through his repertoire. I'm struggling with the Road Warriors here because this had like a sarcastic and weird tone to it. It's just not the Road Warriors.
Maybe they're the college boys.
Yeah, it doesn't really.
Right, it's like they're trying to play them off as like cool and like tricksters or something. It's odd instead of just like monsters. It is weird.
Yeah, so I didn't like that at all. Then we get the.
And by the way, why was Gene was rambling about like sewage and then plug the hotline like before they come in? I don't know what the fuck he was talking about.
I didn't know. I didn't know if that was something I missed or what, but I didn't understand that either, or if that was a pot shot or who knows. Then we get the I Respect the Booker Man match. So it's Pillman versus Sullivan. They fight from the start. They aren't strapped together. Sullivan's hanging on to Pillman. Pillman's firing away with the strap. Then they break apart. Sullivan looks like he's going to kill Pillman. Pillman grabs the mic, says, "I respect you, Booker Man," and then walks out. So, this again is another storyline advancement. Right. I gave it a 4 for a star. I ranked it higher than Cold Ed versus One Man Gang.
I went full. I just went NA on this one. I didn't even count it as a match.
Okay. Yeah.
The next part's a match.
I don't know.
Which we can get to in a minute. But so Tony says this is a late ad. And he basically says due to the heat between these guys, they added this match at the last minute. So we haven't really hyped this at all on TV. They've obviously been at it. I mean, Sullivan's been in Pillman's face for weeks. And like Sullivan looks pissed. Like he comes out with Jimmy, he just looks pissed off. And then Pillman just runs in and they just start rolling around. And they got some nasty shots. Like it felt like very real, I thought, like rippling through it. Like it really felt like they were fighting. Mm-hmm. Sullivan levels Pillman in the jaw, like with a real hard shot. And then Pillman just says, I respect you, Booker Man. And the announcer's like trying to figure out what's going on. Sullivan's walking in a circle. Pillman leaves. And I mean, it's an iconic moment. Like it's different. It's unique. It's super memorable across the board. And I thought they executed it well enough to keep that gray area. Where it goes downhill is what comes next, because this went much longer than it needed to. Like, go ahead, and then we'll talk about it.
So Arn, I guess straight from the golf course. I don't know where he came from.
He's got the maroon shorts and
maroon
button-down shirt.
And, white long sleeve button-down polo. He comes charging out.
And hiking boot, like boots you wear like on
Timberlands,
a nature trail,
Right. And then we get an impromptu match between him and Sullivan. So Arn hammers away with the strap. He hog ties up Sullivan. Sullivan recovers and punches away. Arn low blows him. I thought they're putting this has that Mania. WrestleMania 11 Backlund Hart problem where they keep shoving the guys, the microphone in the guys' faces.
What do you say?
They're either just grolded or it doesn't sound natural at all. And then Sullivan pulls the strap over the top and then is able to post Arn in off of that. Now Flair comes out in his gold gym shirt, and he's out with Jimmy Hart, and he basically calls the match off, pleading to both. So this went a lot. I mean, probably only went like 4 or 5 minutes, but to go to that finish, it did feel like they were kind of plodding around. So I mean, for this whole thing, I mean, I said the Pillman stuff is still interesting, but. I mean, this stuff is played out. I don't think anybody really cares about the Dungeon and the Horseman as an actual feud at all anymore. So I went half a star on this. I didn't really know what to rank it, but I didn't really enjoy this as a segment overall. And again, I didn't really think it was a pay-per-view caliber
the Booker
segment
Man.
either.
I thought the Booker Man part was, and what they should, instead of like, the way they do it, they almost try and play it off like, Pillman wasn't supposed to do what he did, so they're sending Arn out to like fill the time and have a match, right? I mean, that's kind of what they're doing, right? I mean, it's kind of how they're doing it.
Yes.
But they don't fully get that across, so now we're left in limbo, And Arn's all pissed. So is he mad at Pillman or is he mad at Sullivan? Like, what is he mad about? We don't really find out. And then he puts a strap on and really beats the shit out of Sullivan with it. And then we get some more, just scratching and chokes and straps. And when Flair comes out, he cuts a promo, kind of does the classic Flair promo, but then begs him to stop and says they need to work together to take out Hogan and Savage and take the belt. So they all kind of agree. And really, the whole point of this was to get the Horsemen and the Dungeon of Doom back together. Because they were together, and then they had blown apart, and they've been arguing and bitching for the last 6 weeks or whatever. And now they're saying, we're going to unite forces. We need to eliminate Hogan and Savage. And that's going to lead us to somewhere special soon. But for now, this is where we leave things. So I went a star and a half kind of for the whole thing, because I thought the Pillman stuff was really well done. And I wish it ended with Arn coming out, and like him and Sullivan maybe start talking, all confused, and then they leave, or Arn just comes out and like decks Sullivan, and like we didn't need a 4-minute match and then more, like especially with the way the show is going and how it's kind of starting to plod. That part to me kind of ruined it. Like, do the Pillman Booker man and end it there, and maybe do the Arn shit the next night, whatever, and have Flair cut the promo on Nitro the next night. Like, it could have just ended where it ended with the confusion and then get out of there.
Yeah, I thought Flair's promo was a little too rambling. I mean, because what they were setting up, he's got this match with Savage later, but he's talking about destroying Hulkamania, and he's out there for this match. It's like, dude, you got a lot going on. Like, you got bigger fish to fry than to deal with this. But overall, it was just strange. Now, is this it for Pillman?
No.
I don't even know. So we'll see him.
We'll see him for a little bit longer, I think, until through March. All right, why don't we take a break, Chad? When we come back, we got 3 big matches left, our big double main event plus the tag. So a lot to break down still. We'll take a break and we'll be right back after this.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Place to Be Nations, JT Rozzero and Chad Campbell here. We want to let you know that we have over 24 podcasts available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and PlaceToBeNation.com. We now offer them to you on 2 great feeds. On the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed, we dive into topics running the gamut from today's WWE to the glory days of yesteryear and the ins and outs of the territory days. In addition to our full-length shows, we also deliver to you special pod blasts on topics old and new.
The Place to Be Nation Pop feed is a veritable treasure trove of great content. Offer tremendous shows covering the land of movies, television, life, comics, and sports, brought to you by the most knowledgeable and insightful folks in the podcast world.
You can find all of these current shows, plus archives of our previous podcasts over the past 8 years as well, by subscribing to our feeds on iTunes. And while there, be sure to rate and leave feedback as well. All of these shows, plus others available at PlaceToBeNation.com, where we cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, plus in-depth stretch projects and more. Be sure to support our site by using www.PlaceToBeNation.com/Amazon while doing your online shopping. And be sure to join us at our forum at Bigelow34.proboards.com for all sorts of wrestling, sports, and pop culture discussion each and every day, where you can make your voice heard. We also want to thank our friends at Bonehead's Wing Bar, ProWrestlingOnly.com, and TheHistoryOfWrestling.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr as well. PlaceToBeNation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Did you ever have to make up your mind and pick up on one and leave the other behind? It's not.
All right, welcome back to episode 33 of Wrestling Warzone. I'm looking at SuperBrawl 6. Really quick, too, let's take a look at what's on the PTB and Wrestling feed. That's the very feed you're listening to right now. Place to Be podcast. Me, Scott, Peter Winston looked at the February 23rd, 1990 episode of Main Event. That was Hogan and Savage with James Buster Douglas in the mix there. Brand new You Don't Know Billy Jack, Drew and Jordan looking at the first Joshi All-Action Dream Rush Rager. New episode of With This Ring as well, as Ryan and Cindy Everett went over their GWWE list with a look at Bloodbaths. PTBN's Extreme Three-Way Dance, that's myself, John D'Amato, and Jenny. Looked at 4 more episodes of ECW TV from the summer of 94 as we head toward Hardcore Heaven. Main Event 139, Scott, Brother Nate, and Steve previewed Impact's No Surrender, NWA's Into the Fire, plus a trilogy of New Japan classic match picks, and a brand new Talkin' WCW as Jenny, Greg, and Tim spotlighted Bret the Hitman Hart's run down south. Not one for the ages, but it was there. Also, check out the PTM Pop feed that's littered with great content, offering tremendous shows like the Hard Traveling Fanboys, like the Glenn Butler podcast Hour Spectacular, Year in Pop, Laugh in Theater, DC4U, Marvel Age, the Brother Sister Rewatch podcast, and so much more. Subscribe to the Pop feed today, and also subscribe to Jenny's Jenny Position feed, as it's the home of Geek and Sassy, Talking Pop, Freak Out Driving, Telling Stories, Journey Through Infinity, Chad. That's me and Scott and Tim and Jenny going through the MCU, my first trip through that. We got a new one coming, I believe. Actually, by the time this dropped, you probably should have heard it already, or at least it would be out already. We looked at the Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton, so
Right.
you can hear there's some vintage Scott anger. Like if you like original Place to Be podcast with Scott Venom, there's some of that in there. So
Oh, God.
fire up for that. Social media pages, the greatest sitcom of all time tournament now underway. We're in the opening round. 4 matchups per day. That is on Facebook and Twitter. Like the page on Facebook, and you won't miss any polls. And we're really heating up now in round 1. We're starting to get some good matchups as we start in earnest out of the play-ins. PlayStation.com each and every day. New voices, fresh takes. Bring you articles and topics of world of wrestling, sports, about culture, Trent SmackDown on Fox Report, The Week in WWE with John Crow, Paulie's Perspective, Jason's DVD Deep Dive, and Ben's Unpopular Opinion. Veteran columns like Glenn Butler's weekly walk around the web as well. If you're shopping on Amazon for the holiday season, go to PlayStation.com/Amazon. Use that link. It'll allow you to do some shopping and give a little kickback to your friends here at PTBN. While you're there, check out a new book by our longtime fan of PTBN, Adrian Cotton, entitled AWO, Big Time Players, Episode 1, The Beginning of Change. It's a vivid description of the debut episode of AWO's weekly television, Big Time Players. Finally, information of our WWE Pay-Per-View and TV Match Ever project. Visit our social media pages, as well as our message board at bigelow34.probars.com. Ballots are now open. The link is available on both those forums, and final ballots are due December 31st, 2019 at 11:59 p.m. local time. Your list's looking good, Chad. You've been tweeting it out, so.
Yeah, probably by the time this drops, I've just completed my list, so you can go follow me at Big Boys Play WCW and see my completed 100.
Okay, very good. Very good. So get those lists in. All right, we're back at it. Mean Gene's with the Giant and Jimmy Hart, Chad.
Yeah, so Giant has all his hair in front of his face, gives a menacing promo calling Hulk Hogan a maggot, says the door was shut and the last thing going through Hulk's mind will be his fist, spewing just a ton of spit throughout this promo, and he says Hulkamania is through forever. So
Gene says it's a veritable zoo out there coming off that Pillman match.
heard Hulkamania is through forever many a time.
Always. And I did like
strong.
Jimmy says no more B-rate flicks or Thunder in Paradise for Hulk Hogan.
That's right. I did enjoy that clowning on Hulk's acting. Then we get the Road Warriors versus Sting Luger. This was a pretty quick turnaround for Luger and Sting. And again, as I talked about in the last Nitro, I don't really kind of know why they're at a disadvantage having to wrestle twice here.
Well, the Road Warriors did have that match on Main Event, if you remember.
Oh, right. So, guess it all evens out, right? The Road Warriors stalk Luger in the entranceway. He backs down the aisle. I mean, he takes forever to get in the ring. God. So again, like as a standalone storyline standpoint, this is not that bad. But with the last hour that this show has had, we needed some action here. We needed something good, and this is not this. I thought Sting and Hall then got in the ring, and they looked awful with each other. They were barely hitting each other, and was real light. They botch a spinning neck breaker in like hilarious fashion.
It just completely falls apart like mid-move, and then they roll around trying to chain wrestle.
I had no idea what was happening there. Hall locks on the STF, which was just completely bizarre, but it's to reset everything. And then Animal and Luger get in the ring. They also have a weird sequence. So these two were just not on the same page at all. I thought the Road Warriors just kind of look exposed as they don't have their aura anymore, and the matches are just dragging. Luger's sent into the guardrail. Sting is then given the tag, and we get some more slow action, and Sting kind of stumbling around into a low blow. Luger then gets tagged in. He wants in. He does pick up the pace. But once Sting goes back in, he hits the big splash, but Animal's able to get his knees up. I thought the crowd didn't really know who to cheer for here. Big shoulder block by Hawk. Gets 2. Tony yells at him to hook the leg. And then it seems like, again, we reset again with Sting coming in. He no-sells all the big moves. And then, of course, we, on top of this turd sandwich, we get a terrible finish where the match just breaks down and ends in a count out, which is a huge disappointment here. I mean, talking about it, I win a 1.5. That may actually be too generous. It was not a good match at all. It was disappointing.
Very, and I mean, it's kind of a dream match on paper. Like it's a big match. It's cool that they rolled us out here on pay-per-view in 1996. Like, holy shit. Like Sting and Luger versus the Road Warriors. And both teams gave good pops. Tony is pissed when Luger's doing his fucking stalling. He says whatever he gets, he deserves, basically, for this bullshit that he's going on. He is not happy. As frustrated as we are, I guess. And yeah, we get the sloppy sequence with Sting and Hawk. That was terrible. Animal overwhelming Luger, but it's so slow. The pacing is so slow for this whole match. Tony talks up what's been going on throughout the Sting and Luger title reign to find anything to discuss. We get the accidental low blow on Animal by Sting, and then Luger works the midsection. Yeah, I mean, so I thought that was a good point with Tony talking up how Animal's proven his back can hold up in these few matches we've seen, so they're working over it. I liked the impressive top rope splash by Sting when he eats the knees. That was a rugged spot, one of the few good ones here. Just like we're starting to get some excitement too. So we get that spot. Hawk and Luger tag in, and we get a big showdown. The crowd's firing up, and then Hawk goes to a chin lock. It's like completely deflates everything.
Right.
And then we reset again, like you said, the Scorpion. Then we go back to the chin lock. And I will say, God bless this crowd, because they actually hung with this fucking slop of a match. Like, they don't die off. Like, we get chin locks, we get slow pacing, we get stalling. And, I mean, they are hanging in. So, bless them. Luger coming in randomly and just kicking Animal was odd. Then Animal no-sells a vertical suplex, and Sting no-sells his. So now we're getting real goofy at that point. And then Luger into the table, and then the double count out, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, shitty finish, but I was welcoming death by the end of this thing. Like, I was fine with anything that we got. I did not mind at all. I didn't care how it ended. I just wanted it over. No flow, completely sloppy. Just random spots and random tags and strikes. There's no flow, no feel, no build, or it's nothing evolved. Like, it just was like, oh, big move, up, chin lock, up, tag. There was just like, I don't know. It was like you're playing a video game or something. Just kept doing random things. A couple cool power spots, and just completely stuck in mud the rest of the time. So the crowd was into it. I want to start in 3/4 just for the couple of big spots and the crowd trying so hard. But they're really, I mean, that may as well be negative for these guys. Like, it sucks that this, one of the big matches this show is hyped on is completely underdelivered big time.
Right. Yeah, it was bad. Just bad. I mean, this show's now between Conan and Gang and the Sullivan stuff and this, it's
circling fast.
Yeah, really, really going downhill fast. Another Flair promo in the back. I thought this was better than the one in the ring. He's kind of parading around with Woman. He's kind of focused on the cage match only and sets his focus on that, and so that was better. I mean, nothing, certainly not in the upper echelon of Flair stuff, but at least more centered than what he was saying in the ring. So I enjoyed that. The cage gets its own entrance with the lights and all.
Well, you got to really play it up. It's a big deal.
Yeah, big deal here. And then we get the Macho promo now. Him and Liz, I thought, were in a nice dark blue combo here.
Yeah, I liked that.
Macho has his neon yellow kind of accents underneath to set it off. So I didn't take much from his promo. It was kind of your basic stuff.
Yeah, basically just said the mega powers are back together, mental insanity.
Right.
By the way, Flair, did you notice anything weird with Flair's pronunciation in that promo? It was hard to follow. He was like kind of all over the place. I don't know, this didn't sound like him for some reason.
Yeah, I actually thought it was worse in the ring, but I think he's kind of circling a little bit because, I mean, they're asking him to wear a lot of hats here,
right? Where
he's in this kind of blood feud with Savage. We're going to be getting an important turn coming up in the match here, as we're about to speak on. But he also has to send out kind of parting shots to Hogan.
Right.
And then you also have the Dungeon of Doom stuff. So there's too many kind of cooks in the kitchen as far as Flair is concerned. There's too much going on, I think.
I did like the stuck in the middle with you reference there. They did a woman on the left of me and Liz on the right.
Yeah, that's right. God. The announcers would go to the booth. And
this might have been the highlight of the fucking show.
Yeah, that was pretty funny there, where Tony's like so annoyed and sort of spins Bobby around.
Well, Tony and Dusty like plug in what's coming up, and Bobby's just
Right.
stooging in a seat, like he's tangled in the wire, the paper's all over the place. He's like trying to turn around to talk, and it just keeps getting all tangled and caught up, and it was really, really funny. It was like classic Bobby physical comedy. It was great.
Yeah, it was a good little kind of gag here.
Yeah.
Probably the highlight of the
He's so good at being oblivious too. You know what I mean? Like he's just like he has no clue what's going on around him. You know, he's just like circling around, like just in his own world. It's so good.
Yeah.
When I say it's maybe the highlight of the show, literally maybe the highlight of the show. That's how funny it was and how bad the rest of the shit was.
I don't know. Yeah. So Buffer is here as the announcer. For the double main event, we get Flair versus Savage in the cage to start off. Now, Flair stalled at first, which after the Luger stuff, I just had no part of. I was not excited about that. It was like, come on, dude. And then he gets on the mic and says to Elizabeth that he's giving her one last chance to kiss a real winner. Tony keeps reiterating that she's a lady. Randy grabs the mic and says, "Oh no!" on the microphone there. Mm-hmm. So there you go. The match starts with Savage pounding away. Again, I feel like I'm saying that a lot with this, talking about these matches, but there's just a lot of kind of back and forth punch and kick type matches on this show. I mean, with the Road Warriors, you're not expecting to see great hold for hold moves, except when they fall apart and
right.
Hulk has to go to an STF. And I mean, here it's a cage match, so it kind of plays into that. Mm-hmm. So a lot of back and forth here. Savage kind of covered he covered Flair as the ref was shutting the door. So that was a little odd, like 30 seconds into the match.
Right.
And then Flair gains the advantage. I thought Savage took a few real nasty bumps into the cage throughout this match. This was the first one where he kind of throws himself upside down. And then for no reason, Flair just like socks the referee.
That was so funny. Stomps that. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, the crowd loved that too. Bobby talks about, of course, the fine that Flair will receive for doing that. Off of that, while the referee's recovering, Savage hits a backslide. But there's no count, of course. And then you kind of have a lot of back and forth. Mm-hmm. I mean, I didn't think it was bad.
No.
Strikes were okay, but I didn't think it was great either. And
it's a template match for a while really for them. They pretty much go into their usual template, just inside a cage. Yes.
So Macho catches Flair off the top rope, sends him down, locks Flair into figure four. Now, it was kind of weird. The referee decisions on this show. So Tony actually names and says, "Oh, this is Randy Ellers, the ref." That's a pretty big assignment for him. And then we'll get to it, but it was Jimmy Jets, like the referee of the next one on the outside. So
I mean, Nick Patrick was here. He was wasn't he? Didn't we see him at some point?
I believe so, but it's just crazy that they were there. So Flair's able to break the figure four, but he can't stay on top. Woman is just shrieking on the outside, by the way.
Oh God!
It's
nonstop.
Yeah, it's kind of grating. And then Macho goes to the very top of the cage. He tries a double axe handle from there, but Flair punches him in the gut on the way down. That couldn't have felt good on like Macho's knees.
No,
like jumping down that high. I thought Flair sold the leg damage well from the figure four. He does get a suplex. He uses the cage to his advantage. I thought Savage again took a good bump where he kind of dangled himself on the top rope after he hit the cage. But then Macho's able to reverse. He sends Flair into the cage. He rakes Flair's face across the cage. Flair does his blade job, of course. Now we're kind of in the stalemate. Flair recovers first. He climbs the top of the cage, gets his trunks completely pulled down.
Just
about a maybe 30, 40 second of just his butt showing. Dusty has a field day with that. Loves every minute of it. He ends up getting crotched on the top rope from that position. 2 count. But they actually ring the bell off of that. It was a near fall, and they rung the bell by accident. Flair then climbs the other side. He gets mooned again. And they're both, about a minute after that, they're fighting on the cage, and the door just randomly flies open by accident on the cage. So it's kind of a mess here a little bit. Even the camera shot at this time in the finishing stretch, they went to this long, wide shot, like basically the hard cam, but it was from a distance for like over a minute. And I'm just so used to, I guess, the Kevin Dunn school of editing that it was kind of jarring to see them stay on that shot for that long. But that does lead directly to the finish, which was also kind of botched a little bit, where a woman is supposed to hit Savage with some powder. But, I mean, Macho ducked, so she basically hit air, but he sells it anyway. The referee, Eller's looking after Savage, and then we see the turn where Elizabeth hands her shoe to Flair. Savage is able to roll Flair up, but Flair's able to kick out, and then he whacks Savage with the shoe, pins him, and becomes the 13-time champion. We see Liz cheering with Flair after the and a woman after the match. So he has both of them by his side now, and Arn is back out in his long sleeve polo and shorts to celebrate too. So I guess we can just talk about the match and then the aftermath in a minute, but it's a match I thought it was good, but again, disappointing for me. I kind of thought this might have a chance to be sort of like a hidden gem or a diamond in the rough, or it was a match I didn't really remember. And it does feel like these two have faced each other a lot, right?
Yeah, it's been a ton, yeah.
Well, I was looking it up. They've only fought 3 times.
Really? God, it feels like more
that we've seen. I think there was the Saturday night as well.
Yeah, because they fought at what? At Starrcade?
Starrcade, the Nitro, and 2 Nitros. The Nitro,
January
12-18 Nitro, and no, that was Hogan and Flair.
Oh, that's right.
Now, Hogan and Flair fought, I think, even more than Flair and Macho. But I guess it, to me, does feel like they've interacted more than they really have. But I'm kind of just tired of the pairing. Now we've seen the turn. It's time for them to kind of go their separate ways. And I ended up sort of just going 3 stars on this. I thought it was good, but I mean, again, the WrestleMania 8 match, I just put as one of the top 100 greatest matches in WWF history. So I kind of have big intentions and big expectations for these two on a pay-per-view pairing, and I didn't think they really delivered.
Especially with the cage. You don't see Savage in a cage too much. I'm thinking the no-holds-barred cage, and obviously some of his stuff in Memphis and whatnot, the chicken coop and all that, but he's not in too many. I guess he's got the stuff of Bruno, like that tag, but not a ton of WWF cage matches. So I guess Yoko. And no, did he have one Yoko? No, Brett did, right? So I don't think he's had too many that we've seen. So it was kind of cool. I liked Flair, woman out in the purple. Cool. And then, like you said, Savage and Liz in the blue. So they're setting that up well. All the opening shit, I mean, you cover. I'm not going to go through all of it, but that was good. We said it was basically a template match where once you get the big cage bump to kick things off. I thought there's some nasty chops in that opening segment. I loved the Flair beating up the ref. That was really funny. And then, we pretty much just go into all of the template stuff, just inside a cage. Woman screaming was so annoying. I mean, and this is not the end of it. It'll continue. But it was just nonstop. It was just, it was just like the whole time just screaming for Flair at ringside. Savage, I thought, woke the crowd up nicely because they have faded. They hung in that tag match, but they have faded since. So Savage wakes him up a little bit. He goes up to the top of the cage, like you said. But, that shot where he lands on his knees had to hurt. That was a rough landing. I like another bump into the cage there. We get the figure 4. Savage grinding Flair's face in the cage was good. His woman just really ramps up the screaming at that point. Flair is bleeding, and I was wondering if that's why they went to the widescreen, because of the blood.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Because I think they start kind of doing that around this time.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but that makes sense.
Yeah, so they go to that for the blood. He's bleeding. We get the ass spots. They could have went wide for that too, for the nudity. There's a couple reasons we could have went wide. We get the two moonshots. A good near fall in there. The low blow was really good too. And then the finish with Liz making the big turn, which I thought was kind of shrewd. We've seen her with Hogan and Savage. Like, obviously the whole goal is to stack the deck completely against the Mega Powers, right? I mean, that's what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And as we'll see, this Savage and Liz stuff goes in fun directions. So we'll follow that. But I thought the heel turn made sense because we've seen Liz forever in this role. We've never seen her as a heel. So we'll see what she can do. I went 3 stars as well. Just a down the middle template match with them. I was hoping for more given the build and the hype that we've seen. The work we've seen for them in those December matches was above this. And like you said, the WrestleMania 8 match, they stick them in a cage. They get a lot of time. You'd expect something a lot hotter. They got almost 20 minutes here to tell the story. All right. So, yeah, Arn comes out. I can pick this up if you want. Arn comes in to celebrate. Hogan comes out. He stalks Liz, gets in the cage with a chair, cleans house. And the crowd starts chanting, Hogan sucks, as he helps Savage to the back. So that was interesting. They pretty much completely turn on him. And the way the whole thing was worked as well, I want to know, was just like a battle of attrition. They kind of played it like the guys know each other so well. They just keep grinding through this match. I feel like that was the story they were going for. Just like who was going to survive more than who was going to win. That's what it felt like. So that's what I had there. Do you have anything else on the post before we get to the Gene promo?
No. I mean, it's just Hogan, of course, immediately out. So any heat that he had, he... within 5 seconds is sticking his finger in Liz's face, called her Jezebel and everything else. Then he gives this promo with his eye completely patched up.
Oh, yeah. Goofy patching.
I don't know. It wasn't great. It was same stuff he's been saying.
She's a turncoat. Her shoe came off a little too easy on Nitro.
Yeah.
He's just trying so hard and just completely overacting. Yeah.
Big man upstairs is cheering for him, but he needs God and the Hulkamaniacs to overcome the Giant. We do learn the match is unsanctioned, and the referee is going to be on the outside for this one.
It's just what we needed.
So now is our big main event. Rematch from Halloween Havoc. Buffer gives the intros again. Hogan starts immediately shoving the Giant into the cage. We're still getting Giant's Andre's son. They start talking about Giant's legacy.
They will not die.
Bobby says he's doing it for his father. It's just God.
By the way, I loved the. I just want to note the Buffer intros. I thought were amazing. It was like peak Buffer. He calls Jimmy Hart a dapper gentleman. That was like so good. The dapper gentleman, Jimmy Hart. And I thought Giant's entrance was pretty ominous too. And then Hogan's pop is very muted as he comes out. He feels like a relic out here, honestly. But I thought Buffer was tremendous in the open here.
Bad night for Hogan, as we'll get to. I mean, he's using all his cheating repertoire, which at this point in his advanced stage, I mean, it does feel kind of like the guy at the nursing home going a little crazy a little bit, where he's using the tape, he's raking the back.
Right. Well, he's a guy that's been aggrieved, right? And he's tired of it. He's breaking the rules now, not the other guys.
Right. Shirt choking the Giant. So we get everything here. The transition spot, I called it about a minute and a half before it happened, where he tries to slam the Giant. Of course, the Giant takes over.
Yep.
Giant's offense wasn't great here.
No.
I think we've been pretty impressed by the Giant, but
the highlight was a vertical suplex. That should tell you all you need to know.
Yeah, this was not one of his better performances. I thought, the suplex was fine. He also does a good backbreaker. But it wasn't great. Hulk at some point does a real wimpy blade job.
Oh, yeah.
Like just might as well not even blade it at all.
That spot where he stumbles into the cage when Giant whips him toward it too was so bad. He just it's awful. I'm thinking Renzi on into the fence. I mean, just terrible. Just stumbles so awkwardly into it.
Bear hug to grind things down to a halt even more.
Yep, that's definitely what we needed. Yeah.
The announcers try to talk about, well, here comes Hulkamania, but it's just a very tepid reaction. Hogan does a tiny comeback, but Giant's able to get the boot up, takes over again. Giant hits the choke slam, but
No.
Hogan was
This
not
was
able to go up.
I was like, this is not a choke slam. It is the safest, slowest. You hold someone gently by the neck and place them on the mat that we've ever seen. I mean, I wouldn't even call it a choke slam. It's so bad.
Yeah, Hogan very gingerly gets about up to nipple level of the Giant on the choke slam, and then goes down. Bobby kind of tries to cover and say like, "Oh, he didn't lift him all the way," but I mean, Hulk's up from that, of course. So no surprise there. Crowd's still not behind him. The announcers again are trying to sell as much as they can for Hogan, but it's just not happening here. He keeps ramming Giant into the cage. I did think this was one of the rare cool moments of this match where he rams Giant in the cage. You can see the cage moving, so that gives a good visual. Then he slams the Giant, gives him 3 leg drops. He tries to climb. Now I was surprised again at this, where the Giant basically sits up Undertaker style, off of the 3 leg drops. So I was like, wow, that's
they're
surprising.
protecting him a bit,
Yeah, so you protect him a little bit. So, but then I mean, I thought the finish was pretty lame, where they climb up to the top rope. I was expecting something at least cooler than what we got, which is basically Hogan punches the Giant
He
off.
just falls back,
Yeah, he falls back, takes a bump on the floor, on the ring, into the ring, not on the floor, and then Hogan climbs over the top rope.
This guy survived the fall off a building, and this fall finished him here.
Yeah, we did not get a bell at all. Dusty says that was like Jack and the Beanstalk when the Giant hits. Real mild pop. Let's talk about the match. I mean, the match is atrocious. I don't know what else you can say.
I got nothing else to say. I mean, you hit all the points.
One of the worst. Do we want to say the worst pay-per-view main event up to this point? Can we think of one that's worse?
Yeah, I mean, it's worse than Bulldog and Diesel, right? That's probably been one of our worst we've seen.
I would say Bulldog, Diesel, Mabel, Diesel. Those are kind of your contenders.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look into it a little bit more.
I mean, Yoko versus Brett has at least a better moment.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Not a great match, but yeah.
No, that's better than this.
Yeah, I can't
Undertaker, maybe?
Oh, maybe even like something like, Undertaker is probably worse than this. But even something like, I could see people bringing up like Sting versus Black Scorpion. I actually think Flair's performance as Black Scorpion, as stupid as that was, is better than anything here. So
yeah. And I think you covered most of the hits of the match. The highlights to me were the suplex and then the cage hits. That was about it.
Yeah, if you want to say the mixed tag at Great American Bash 91, I mean, I guess maybe that, but it was bad. I mean, I gave it a star. I don't know what you ranked this puppy, but
half a star for me.
Yeah, there we go.
Especially at the end. If it wasn't at the end of this show, maybe a little more generous, but it was rough. It was rough to get through this show and then deal with that match at the end of it. It wasn't fun. At all. I mean, Piper Lawler, that's probably in the talk conversation.
Oh, yeah, God. I tried to block that out. That was really bad. Yeah, I guess there's been more bad pay-per-view.
Mainly in 1994 for WWF. They had some
Undertaker is bad. I think Undertaker would probably be my pick, but this is in the conversation.
Oh, for sure. Well, and too, when you I got Taker had a lot of hype too. I was saying, when you factor in the hype and the build, I mean, this feud's been building since August with Hogan and Giant. I mean, they've really built this match up, and they put it in a cage and closes arguably would you call SuperBrawl the number 2 show of the year at this point?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably 2 or 3. I'd say probably Havoc, but yeah, I mean, it's up there for sure. Yeah.
I mean, Bash at the Beach, I think, is going to get surpass it eventually, but I don't think we're there quite yet. There's only been a couple.
No, yeah, I mean, I didn't think. I mean, it's certainly in the Big 4 discussion. At worst, it's like Starrcade, Havoc, Bash at the Beach,
SuperBrawl.
Or before that was Great American Bash,
right?
Interchangeable, and then SuperBrawl. Yeah.
Right. All right. So post match, Kevin Sullivan comes out. He hits him with a chair immediately.
Immediately
within seconds.
Attacks him with the chair. Yes.
So they all get in the ring. Bobby calls the Dungeon of Doom the Legion of Doom, which cracked me up. I thought that was really funny. He fucks that up. So we get Ming, Barbarian, Zodiac, Shark, One Man Gang, and Hugh Morris all come out. And Hogan cleans them all out with a chair. All of them. Wipes them all out. Giant
Now,
Sullivan escape. Go ahead.
Well, I will tell you, One Man Gang. I wish I knew how to make GIFs because I would love. I may just record it from my phone, but anybody that has the network, I'm begging you, just watch One Man Gang when he gets in the cage because he takes, he gets in on one side, takes about the weakest chair shot you've ever seen in your life on the back, and then does as full a sprint as One Man Gang can do into the cage on the opposite side. It
Ridiculous.
Is so hilariously bad.
It's like him and Hogan are in this like weird like vaudeville slow motion play. They're stooging around. They're in slow. It's like they're playing. It's an act. It's like ridiculous. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I actually thought this was worse than probably the choke slam. Like it was
bad too.
It was funnier, but it was so bad, so preposterous.
Fucking pathetic. So Sullivan and Giant escape, and then Loch Ness makes his big debut. Although we saw him on main event, I guess. But he comes in and Giant just pieces out. He's like, "I'm out of here. Fuck you. Have fun, Loch Ness." The Dungeon of Doom holds back Nessie as he tries to get in the ring because Hogan has the chair, the equalizer. And this is also stupid too. Like Hogan's like you would have thought he had a gun in the ring with the way they act.
And I mean Loch Ness is a big guy,
right?
But it's like why he's not bigger than the Giant,
right? He's just 800 pounds or whatever. So
yeah, I mean what are we so scared of here?
And he probably stinks. Yeah, that stench is.
Yeah, he does look like he has not showered. So.
So this is what I wrote about the match itself, by the way. This is my write-up. Boring, slow, sluggish crap. So boring. Only a highlight was 2 minutes at the end. Hogan cooked. Giant can only do so much. Not enough cage. Just bland. Saving grace is Giant that wasn't pinned. Dog shit across the board. That was what I wrote for that. That's my summary of that match.
Yeah, it was bad.
Half a star.
It was bad.
Half a star. And they're lucky they got that. That was only for those couple of spots.
Oh, I'm rewatching the One Man Gang bump as we speak. I can't because Hogan whacks everybody else in the head with the chair, so it's like unprotected chair shots. Then he whacks Gang in the back. He just goes full sprint, flies over the top rope in between the ropes and the cage. Of course, Zodiac's being just a doofus. The whole thing, oh my god. This needs to end. But
so I guess we'll call this awards, but I don't know if they're going to be awards, but we'll see what it is. The Razzies at this point.
We all know what's going to happen here.
All right, match of the night.
Yeah, so match of the night. I ranked Bad and Page and the cage match Flair and Savage the same, but I actually went Bad and Page just because I was disappointed. And Savage Flair. I mean, probably objectively, Savage Flair's the best match of the night. But
I went with Savage Flair. I mean, you had the list turn, which is pretty important in there. So,
I was just bummed.
I know. Me too. It was disappointing. Pillman quitting was my moment.
Oh God, I can't even remember now. Let me pull myself away from this and look, because there really wasn't nothing.
Flair's promo.
I guess Pillman quitting's probably bad. Yeah, I did his backstage promo, and then I thought that was only probably like decent. So.
Right. Yeah, I think Pillman quitting was the big. I mean, I respect you, Booker, man. That's like pretty iconic WCW moment, and launches Pillman's like major free agency stuff that's coming up. So. It's arguably one of the more historical WCW ones, probably in many ways.
I don't know about that.
No? At least most memorable, most known.
I guess, but I don't know if people. I think people know the line, but I don't know necessarily if they. I mean, they associate it with time period, but I don't think they associate it with like.
Right.
Oh, that was SuperBrawl 6. You know?
No,
what I mean?
I know, like, but it's still a big moment. Most people know it. You know what I mean? Like it gets credit for being on the show. Anyway, either way, it's the biggest moment of the night.
Well, I think that's one of those lines too that I've kind of. It's in the "Who are you to doubt, El Dandy?"
Right. Yeah, I guess.
Where it's just like, okay. I feel like with both of those, it's like even the people that constantly crapped on WCW or have not watched much of it, it's like they recall those.
Right.
And it's just it's much more than that.
All right, so who you got for MVP?
I just went Flair. He's kind of generic, but
I went a little different. I went Tony, Bobby, and Dusty. They busted their ass to make this show watchable in some way. I thought they were really good chemistry-wise. I thought they made some good points and had some good conversation. And then Bobby stooging, that was the highlight, one of the highlights of the show for me. So I gave it to them. They had to deal with this whole fucking show like we did.
All right, that's I guess fine. What else we got? Commentary lines?
I got a bunch.
Rattle off some of those.
I got a bunch. Here we go. Plunger, isn't that what we use in the commode? That's a plunger. Dusty and Bobby. If Boggs hit like that, he would have been the batting champion from Bobby. Have you seen any Australian arm drags from Dusty? She doesn't have the bingo card to stand on, Bobby. His solar plexus, Tony. That's about 20 miles outside of Phoenix, Bobby. Bobby says. Solar plexus. I always love Bobby's inane comments like that. Fist him in the head, Dusty. I respect you, Bookerman. Pillman. This guy has shoes 3 sizes too small just so he can be miserable, Bobby. If I want to talk to you, I'll take your wife home and make a woman out of her, Flair. It's like in high school when you had your girl and Bobby had his, and I said, let's meet by the shed and fight in the chicken coop while they wait outside. That's Dusty.
Oh, my God.
He's feeling a little dipsy-doozy, if you know what I'm talking about. That was Dusty. This is his mode of referendum. Mode of referendum. Dusty. The man who literally returned from the dead last October. That was Buffer. That was my favorite Buffer line. Besides the Dapper Gentleman. The man who literally returned from the dead last October. He says it like on the fucking straight lace, too. Oh, my God. I was dying. The Dapper Gentleman, Jimmy Hart. And then Hogan, you keep an eye out for Giant, Bobby, with the eye. It was funny. So anyway, a lot there to digest. As you can see why I picked the commentators as my MVPs. I thought they were good. But Buffer should have been my MVP just for nailing that line with a straight face. The man who literally returned from the dead in October.
The only shots fired I had was Gene.
Yeah, the hotline.
With the hotline. Our debut was Loch Ness.
Jimmy Hart.
There we go. And so, I mean, what was your rating on this? I think this is easily the second worst pay-per-view we watched from top to bottom.
So I went 3 out of 10.
Ditto. 3
so
out
that
of
would
10
make
for
it
me.
the... I think what did we give In Your House for? Oh, 2.5.
Yeah, I went 1.5.
Okay. I went 2.5, and then the next night on Raw, I went 3.
Yes, that was the one. I know that was the Raw I absolutely hated. Went 1.5 on that too. But this is my third lowest rating.
It's a bottom 3.
Yeah, it was a bad show. I mean, there's no way to slice it. This was not
Terrible.
a good show. Not, for as much momentum as they've been building in the Nitros, they lost it here. And as we talked about previously, how when Dynamite first started, we got some kind of pushback by saying, Nitro was good. It wasn't like it was terrible until the NWO came on the scene. And I know some people like John Phil Pavich had pointed towards this era as, I just remember like the February to April stretch being atrocious. And I mean, we'll see, but this certainly wasn't an encouraging start. I mean, this was a bad show, so we'll see if they can rebound.
Well, I think we're seeing for whatever reason, and it's worrisome a bit for us as having to watch this, a very different presentation between TV and pay-per-view, because the Clash was shaky, Starrcade was disappointing, but like Nitro was ripping. But it's also 45 minutes. You're getting like 3 or 4 quality matches. They're unloading the roster on those shows. You're getting Benoit, you're getting Guerrero, you're getting all those guys in sprints. And now we have to come here and you get these 15 to 20 minute matches with the names and not necessarily those guys. It's not translating. And we saw the same thing with the Clash. Remember, we were pretty disappointed in the Clash too. That was like a middle of the road show.
Yeah. I don't expect though too high quality from the Clash. I mean, I think we'll see in the next show. That is a show I'm more familiar with, especially the high and the low points. So we'll kind of see the whole gambit there. But But yeah, I guess we can look as we head towards uncensored. We can look at kind of the middle portion because, like that Chicago street fight, it gets a crap load of time, and it's not something I really remember. But I looked at Wikipedia earlier and saw how long it was, and I'm not exactly looking forward to it. So.
Yeah, no, I don't remember it as being much. But yeah, so we'll see. But it'll be interesting to see because I think, I'm not saying Johnny P's wrong. I think you may be right but I think most people think of these pay-per-views and these big shows. You know what I mean? Like, I'm curious if TV continues to crank along because I do think we got some interesting stuff coming on TV. So we'll see how that plays out. But
and I know at least at the worst on the WCW pay-per-view side, like Uncensored and Slamboree 96, I'm not as familiar with. But Great American Bash 96 is an all-timer in my book, so we can at least look forward to that one way down the line.
We got a lot coming, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, that'll do it for tonight, so we'll be back. Our next episode is just the Nitro, so it'll be a quick one.
Yeah, just the Nitro.
Yep, just the 2/12/96 Nitro. The Raw's off for the dog show, and then we'll be on to In Your House 6 and the one after that. So, all right. Keep an eye out on all of our feeds. Plenty of shows out there for you. Episode 2 of Body Press Your Luck also dropped last week, so check that out. Lots going on as we head toward the end of the year. Thank you, as always, for being fans here at PlayStation.com. For Chad, I'm JT. Continue to smell that napalm.